So I'm going to talk about something that seems unimportant all over the country. It's a Florida race that's happening for the first congressional district in the Pensacola area in Florida. Why is it important? Because it's a seat that can be taken away from the Republican Party because Matt Gaetz, former congressman in that area, who some of you may know very well from being a MAGA Republican, who also was suspected of committing sexual crimes and drug-related crimes with minors. He dropped out of his seat to attempt to become the U.S. Attorney General, but he did not make the cut. This is back a month ago over. And I mean, it was obvious for those reasons because of that shady background. Uh, but he had won the race in November 2024. So now we have two more people running to take that seat to replace him after he left the spot to be considered to be Attorney General. And we have Gabe Valimont and Jimmy Patronis. Just to tell you real quickly, shortly about them is, let me tell you about Jimmy Patronis, who I met personally. He's a nice guy. I met him. He's likable. I met him at a couple events when he came in town, media related events, and he's a nice person. And I don't mind Republicans, but he seems to have gone MAGA, and MAGA is not good for the USA right now because everything that's happening. And number two, he has a career as a establishment politician in Florida. He's been in politics for the last 20 years. He worked with several governors already. He worked with the governor before Jeb Bush, I believe, which is back 25 years ago. And I forget his name now, but then the Jeb Bush, and then there was Rick Scott, and there were other politicians that he worked with in the state. For many years, he was part of the legislature for 6 years, and he was not allowed to run again because of term limits they have in Florida, which they should have that in the U.S. Congress. I don't know why it's not happening to this day. Prevents corruption and establishment building. But he has been as an establishment figure in Florida. He was endorsed by Trump. And the funny, odd thing is that he's been now pushing and promoting MAGA, Trumpy nonsense pretty much because he wants to be elected. And they told him, hey, play ball, and we'll get. And Trump endorsed him. And he, like I mentioned, he has been a reasonable Republican in the past, way more than Matt Gaetz, and that's why I feel a little hesitant about believing that the Democrat might win. I'm trying to be honest here, but there's also a good side to that. So he's an establishment politician in Florida for the last 20 plus years. The opponent, Gay Valimont, is a woman who studied and went to university and majored in health degree, and I think she got also a master's in Georgia. But she has never been involved in politics. She's not establishment, as what you might call someone who's been in politics for a long time. And she's given her track record. Again, check her bio. She has been someone who's more for the community. She's been working with health, helping athletes, mostly in educational institutions like colleges maybe, or high schools. And she has been also active with the community, helping with the community efforts to improve the community. So she is someone who even has a tragedy in her life. She met her husband about 20 years ago or 25 years ago. They married, I think it's 20 years ago. And they had a son in 2012. And they were in Georgia and they moved to Florida, Pensacola area. And both her husband and her son came down with deadly diseases. They, not the same disease, it was different. But they both got sick in 2020, around the time when COVID came, and they both passed away. She had to take care of them, be a caretaker for them while they were dying, pretty much. And now she is still continuing her work, being active with the community, continuing her career. But then we also noticed that she's also very aware of what's happening with abortion extreme law. And she also happens to be associated to that because she had a troubled pregnancy where she lost the baby. I'm telling you, she's had a rough life. And she ran against Matt Gaetz, him with the shady character, shady record, and Gaetz won. And that's shocking because he's someone who you would like support more than somebody who's suspected of unethical moral trespasses. And she's been a good woman, lost her husband and her child. She's out for the community. So you can balance those two. You can see which one is good. And now Jimmy Patronis, like I mentioned, he's a nice guy. I met him personally, but he's MAGA now. He's pushing some of the MAGA nonsense, and everyone knows what's happening around the country. Yes, Trump took office, started taking care of illegal immigration in a very strong way, which is, it's great, but not when you're doing it too much, where you abuse regular citizens and residents' rights. I mean, let's report undocumented immigrants. Let's get rid of them. But then now the Trump administration is targeting people that are residents, people that are here with the legal status, as a refugee, and he's cutting them out, send them back, looking for an excuse to do that. In terms of the government, cutting the budget to bring the deficit down. They're firing right and left people. And now even Republicans are complaining about how it's affecting people's lives. People that are being fired who are Republicans, who voted for Trump, who are being fired from government just across the board. No explanation, even if they were good employees. So there's a lot of animosity and a lot of anger that this is happening after people that voted for him. And now the thing is that what I feel a little bit uneasy about Gay Valamon being an honorable woman who's gone to tragedy, and Jimmy Patronis, who's a nice guy, Republican. Now he's turning MAGA. He's been an establishment Republican for, like I said, more than 20 years. The thing is, the odd detail is that the funding for both parties has gone way higher than it was for Matt Gaetz last year and before. People are donating money for her and both of them because they know the importance of this race. So please bring awareness about this. And not only that, it's not so much about vote for him, vote for her. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm telling you, check both of their bios, their biographies. Jimmy Patronis and also Gay Valamon. And you can see who deserves to represent the people more. And you'll be able to tell. So don't so much trust me. Google their names and share information online about this. You may not be in Florida, but share the information about who is more worthy to represent the people. And that's all I have to say today. So please vote. Let's save the nation. Let's save the country. Until next time. Okay? Hasta la vista, baby.